In glyceraldehyde, if OH group is on the right hand side, then it is said to be D-glyceraldehyde. It is said to be D-glyceraldehyde. If OH group is on the left hand side, then it is said to be L-glyceraldehyde. It is said to be L-glyceraldehyde. Now, if you would like to give the configuration of the glucose, we need to give the configuration of glucose with respect to glyceraldehyde. As glyceraldehyde is the standard compound, based on the 5 or 6 observations we have done it. Based on those observations, we have already given the open chain structure of the glucose. It is the open chain structure of the glucose. In this open chain structure of the glucose, if you observe it, the highest chiral carbon number, that is highest chiral carbon center is 5th carbon. At that 5th carbon, if you observe it, this is the carbon number 5 and it is 6. And if I'm highlighting it, so this part, if you observe it, it is almost similar to this part of glyceraldehyde. Yes or no? In which OH group is on the right hand side. OH group is on the right hand side. Hence, it is to be taken as D-glucose. And configuration, this configuration D stands for relative configuration, which can be given with respect to glyceraldehyde. So if I write it, it has D plus glucose. This plus indicates optical rotation of the glucose, that is dextrorotatory. It is dextrorotatory. It rotates the plane polarizer light to the right side. Rotates the plane polarizer light. PPL means plane polarizer light to right side. If PPL rotates to the any compound, if it rotates the PPL to the left side, it is called levorotatory. If it rotates to the right side, it is said to be dextrorotatory. Glucose is an example of dextrorotatory compound. That's why glucose is also said to be dextrose. We are indicating this sign plus. Plus indicates for dextrorotatory. This capital D indicates for, capital D indicates for relative configuration in comparison to glyceraldehyde. Hope it is clear. So far, whatever we have done, once if you observe it, monosaccharides, glucose preparation methods we have discussed, and followed by structural illustration of the glucose. We have done 6 reactions around. Based on those 6 reactions, this is the structure what we have proposed to the glucose. This is the structure what we have proposed to the glucose, isn't it or not? And this is a structure can be given for the glucose. In that structure, you can see one aldehyde functional group and 4 secondary alcoholic group, 1 primary alcoholic group, and as well as 4 chiral centers are there, and there are 16 optically active isomers can be produced from the glucose. This is the discussion what we have done so far. So what are the objections against open chain structure? Objections against open chain structure, right? Let's talk about that. Glucose do not react with sodium hydrogen sulfite or sodium bisulfite. You can say that sodium bisulfite. Glucose does not react with sodium bisulfite and SIPS reagent. It do not react with any HSO3 and SIPS reagent despite of having aldehyde group. despite of having aldehyde group. As we know, glucose is having aldehyde as a functional group. Though it has aldehyde functional group, it is not giving some characteristic reactions of aldehydes. Aldehydes characteristic reactions are reaction with NaHSO3, it gives an addition product. It gives an addition product. So that characteristic reaction is also not giving. And as well as the reaction with SIPS reagent. Reaction with the SIPS reagent. If you add aldehyde solution to the, if you add SIPS reagent to the aldehyde solution, color can be restored. Pink color can be restored, right? So pink coloration can be observed. That pink coloration can be observed means indicates the presence of aldehyde functional group. So these are the characteristic reactions for the aldehyde functional group containing compounds, right? But though glucose is consisting of aldehyde, but it is not giving the characteristic reactions of which is reaction with NaHSO3 and reaction with the SIPS reagent. Okay, and as well as second one, glucose can exist in two forms. Can exist in two forms, that is alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. Alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. It could not explained by open chain structure. It could not explained by open chain structure. It could not explained by open chain structure. Existence of alpha and beta D glucoses could not explained by open chain structure. This is the second objection or second drawback, right? And third one is mutarotation. Mutarotation could not explained. Mutarotation could not explained by open chain structure. By it, you can say that. I'll explain all of these points, don't worry, right? One by one. So first point, glucose do not react with NaHSO3 and SIPS reagent. Glucose can exist in two forms, alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. That existence of alpha D and beta D glucose could not explained by the open chain structure. Mutarotation, there is a phenomenon. It is possible because of existence of alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. That also could not explained by open chain structure of the glucose. So why open chain structure of the glucose could not explain these facts? Then how can you explain? How can you explain these facts? Let's make a look on it. How do you explain that those shortcomings of open chain structure of the glucose? How do you explain? That is the point. So it can be explained by cyclic structure of the glucose. Cyclic structure of the glucose can explain those drawbacks. Can explain those drawbacks, children. So especially whenever aldehydes are ketones. Aldehydes, what is the general formula I can give it? RCH double bond O. If it react with the alcohol ROH in the presence of HCl, right? You can polarize the bond in this direction. Alcohol being an acid, it can be dissociated as RO minus and H plus, right? So it is aldehyde reacting with alcohol in the presence of HCl, RO minus and H plus is there. Carbon gets positive charge. No? So what do you get it? RCH, O is being attacked by H, OH, and it is OR. It is alcohol, it is ether. Check it, ROR group. COR means ether. No? So any compound which is having both alcohol and ether in it, so such type of compounds are said to be hemiacetals. What they are called as hemiacetals. So such type of hemiacetal linkage can be formed in the glucose. Such type of hemiacetal linkage can be formed in the glucose. The existence of hemiacetal linkage, how can we write it? For suppose if I write it, R C double bond OR. This is called as ketone. This is called as aldehyde. It is called as aldehyde. Same reaction can take place even with the ketone also. RO minus and H plus, you can polarize the bond. And then RCH. And it is, what you are going to get it? OH, OR. Of course, it is RCOR. Instead of H, we have to write it as R. If you write R, this is called as emi-ketal. What is this called as? Emi-ketal. If it is formed from aldehyde, it is called emi-acetal. If it is formed from ketone, it is called as emi-ketone, emi-ketal. Because of this formation of emi-acetal and emi-ketal, there is a cyclic structure arises for the glucose. Let's make a look on it, how this cyclic structure can be arised. So you know the structure of the glucose. First carbon itself, CHO. First carbon itself, CHO. CH2OH. I'm showing you the formation of emi-acetal. This is glucose structure. So in that aldehyde functional group is there. So this is C1 and it is C2 and it is C3 and it is C4 and it is C5 and it is C6. So if you polarize the bond in this direction, right? So then if you polarize the bond in this direction, at fifth carbon, if you observe it, at C5, if you observe it, you will get O minus and H plus. At carbon number 5, alcohol is there, and that is alcohol, secondary alcohol, O minus and H. This H plus can be migrated to O. H plus if it is migrated to O. H plus if it is migrated to O, then what will you be getting? HCOH, and remaining it is same.
So we'll get a carbocation on the top, no, sir?
This way. So it is plus, no? That plus is being attacked by O. That plus is being attacked by the O. So rest of everything is same. OH, H, H, OH. It is OH. It is H. It is H. So this oxygen, which is having minus charge, goes and attack onto the positively charged carbon. This linkage is called as emi-acetal linkage, but it forms a cyclic ring structure. It forms a cyclic ring structure, and it is said to be cyclic emi-acetal. What it is called as, children? This structure is said to be cyclic emi-acetal. It is said to be cyclic emi-acetal. And the same thing, I can write it in another way also. Observe it carefully. Please point out the difference and tell me what you are going to observe the difference. Let's check it and tell me. This is emi-acetal linkage can be formed. Right? This is emi-acetal linkage can be formed over there. Could you please tell me the, okay, just wait. Yeah. Could you please tell me the point of difference here? What is the point of difference? Did you observe it in these two structures?
Configuration.
Configuration at carbon number 1, if you observe it, configuration is differing. So glucose, it will undergo intramolecular cyclization. It is undergoing intramolecular cyclization. It is a D-glucose. This is D-glucose, which is undergoing intramolecular cyclization, and it forms two forms, that is alpha D-glucose. What is that, ma? Alpha D-glucose, and another one is beta D-glucose. Another one is beta D-glucose. Such type of two forms will be formed over here. One form is alpha D-glucose. Another form is beta D-glucose. Another form is beta D-glucose. And if you observe that at carbon number 1, if OH group is on the right hand side, then it is alpha D glucose. At carbon number 1, if OH group is on the left hand side, then it is said to be beta D glucose. So they are showing difference in the configuration at C1, right? At C1. So such type of isomers are said to be anomers. What they are called as anomers. So here anomers means they have difference in the configuration. They have difference in the configuration. They have difference in the configuration at C1. At C1. So what you can say here, alpha and beta D glucose are examples of anomers. Alpha and beta D glucose are examples of anomers because they shows difference in the configuration at C1, at carbon number 1. If you observe it, children, so it is aldehyde functional group. This aldehyde functional group is not free. That aldehyde functional group is not free. It is involved in the cyclization. It is involved in the cyclization. So that is the reason it is involved in the cyclization. That is the reason it do not react with NaHSO3 as well as it do not react with the CIFS reagent. Why it is not giving those tests in the sense? Because our aldehyde group is not free. It has been involved in the formation of hemiacetal linkase. It has been involved in the formation of hemiacetal linkase. And that is a point number 1. And point number 2, glucose can exist in two forms, that is alpha D glucose and beta D glucose. That existence of alpha D glucose and beta D glucose can be explained by the help of cyclic structure of the glucose, but not by open chain structure of the glucose. If you observe it here, D glucose is having two forms. One form is alpha D glucose and another form is beta D glucose. So this can be explained by the cyclic structure, not by the open chain structure. So please copy it, everyone. Right. Observe it carefully. So here R D glucose, right, which is in equilibrium with alpha D glucose as well as beta D glucose. As we come to know that D glucose is in equilibrium with alpha D glucose as well as beta D glucose. It is exhibiting both the forms, alpha form as well as a beta form. So how you get it actually? A sample of the glucose which is obtained by recrystallization from ethanol, right? If it is recrystallized from ethanol, then that form is nothing but alpha form. That form is nothing but alpha form. For suppose if it is recrystallized from the pyridine solution, that form is nothing but beta D glucose. These are the two forms what we have. One is alpha D glucose and another one is beta D glucose. Moreover, if you observe that melting points also, it shows a lot of difference. Alpha D glucose, if I observe it, it is showing a melting point of 146 degrees Celsius. You can write it that MP. MP means melting point. Okay. So other one, the melting point is around 150 degrees. And moreover, this beta D glucose, if you observe it, its angle of rotation is 90 degrees. That means optical rotation, right? Optical rotation is 90 degrees. And whereas alpha D glucose, if you observe it, its angle of rotation is 112 degree plus 112 degree. It's dextrorotated. So it is angle of rotation or optical rotation, you can say that. And it is angle of rotation of beta D glucose. Right. So whereas the D glucose angle of rotation is around plus 52.5 degree. So what will happen as time goes on? This 112 degree angle of rotation decreases to 52.5 degree. And as time goes on, in case of beta D glucose, 19-degree rotation increased to plus 52.5 degree. So all D-glucose is in equilibrium with alpha D-glucose and beta D-glucose. Moreover, the rotation is keep on changing with the time, right? So what you can say that increase in rotation of beta D-glucose and decrease in rotation of alpha D-glucose and reaches same value that is plus 52.5 degree as time goes on. As time goes on, it is called as mutarotation. What is this called as? Mutarotation. This is said to be mutarotation. Mutarotation is nothing but change in optical rotation of alpha and beta D-glucose towards D-glucose rotation. That is towards D-glucose rotation means plus 52.5 degree as time goes on. This phenomenon is called as mutarotation. But phenomenon of mutarotation you can understand by the existence of beta D-glucose and alpha D-glucose only. That existence of alpha and beta D-glucoses could not explained by open chain. Obviously, mutarotation also could not be explained. So if you know the cyclic structure, then only you will understand the existence of this mutarotation phenomenon also, right? So third drawback also can be overcome by the cyclic structure of the glucose. Hope it is clear. So we have given alpha D-glucose and beta D-glucose cyclic structures, and as well as how they are existing, and as well as mutarotation also we have explained clearly. Hope the point is clear. So mutarotation can be explained by the cyclic structure of the glucose. Now, if you observe that next structures we are giving it as pyranose structures. Also said to be Haworth projections. Whatever the cyclic hemiacetals which are formed over there, those cyclic hemiacetals are similar to the pyran ring. This ring is called as a pyran ring. And now if you observe that in cyclic structure we have given a Fisher projection. Yes or no? Just I am changing the board. So this is cyclic structure, no? Hemiacetal ring. It is, we have given in the Fisher projection. This projection is said to be Fisher projection. And while we are giving Haworth projections, those are cyclic structures in the form of pyran ring. Observe it carefully once. See, the same pyran ring can be given like this. This is pyran ring. Okay. So now we are giving it alpha D-glucose as well as beta D-glucose in the form of pyranose structures. So whichever the groups are there on the right side, it should be placed at bottom. Whichever the groups are placed are on the left side in the Fisher projection. If you observe, it is Fisher projection now. All the right side groups must be placed at the bottom. Left side groups must be placed at the top. Observe it. What is the first carbon we have? HCOH. That must be placed here. It is carbon. OH should be at the bottom, H on the top. And similarly, what is the second carbon we have? Second carbon same, no? HCOH. Similarly, third carbon, if you observe it, H is on the right hand side, OH is on the left hand side. So what does it mean? H should be at the bottom, OH on the top. And it is fourth carbon. In the fourth carbon, if you observe it, what we have? OH is on the right hand side. So I can give it as OH and it is H. Now it is fifth carbon. Fifth carbon H, which we have H, and it is fifth carbon which we have H, and it is connected to CH2OH. That is what I have given here. See, CH2OH. Now it is connected to Me acetal. Me acetal linkage with the first carbon. Right? I am indicating those carbons also with red color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is 6. Right? So the point of difference also clearly you can understand. So in beta, what will happen? H comes down and OH on the top. Only at C1 carbon number 1, there is a difference in the configuration. So OH here, H here, rest of everything is same. Rest of everything is same. Carbon numbers also, if you observe it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is 6. And if you give the names also, this is alpha D glucose, no? Generally, alpha D glucose, but we are representing in the form of pyran. That's why it is said to be alpha D glucopyranose. Other side, what we have? Alpha D glucopyranose, and this is said to be beta D glucopyranose. It is said to be beta D glucopyranose. These type of structures are said to be Haworth projections. These type of structures are said to be, children, Haworth projections. Hope you understand the difference. Now, if you observe that glucose, you said that it has 4 chiral centers. 4 chiral centers in the sense 2 raised to n. That will be 2 raised to 4.
16 optical isomers.
16 optical isomers. But 16 optical isomers, in those 16 optical isomers, 8 are D form. 8 are D form and 8 are L form. 8 D form are there, 8 L form are there. And both these are enantiomers to each other. That's why, okay, those are optically active isomers. Both these are enantiomers to each other. But suppose if you observe that, one by one, you tell me that structure CHO. What is this structure called as?
Glucose, sir.
Very good. Glucose. Fine. What is the difference you have observed? You tell me that. So monosaccharides, we are still in the discussion of monosaccharides only.
Sir,
Just wait, Aditya, just wait, please. What did you observe the difference here?
Sir, in the first chiral carbon, the H and OH.
Carbon number only tell me. Carbon number only tell me. Number.
Carbon 2.
Carbon
Second
number.
carbon, HO
Second
present, sir.
carbon, the
There is a difference in the
OH and
configuration.
H.
Yeah, there is a difference in the configuration.
Yes.
So it is said to be mannose. It is said to be mannose. And
Sir, but the molecular formula will be same, no, sir?
same.
Just a structure.
And if you observe the glucose and this structure, configuration where it will be same. At which carbon it is same, it will be different, sir. Configuration at which carbon it will be different.
Fourth one.
Fourth carbon.
Fourth carbon, sir.
If you observe it, right?
Yes, sir.
Fourth carbon configuration is different. This is called as a galactose. This is called as a galactose. If you observe it carefully, a very important point here. glucose and mannose, they shows difference in configuration at C2. So glucose and mannose are called as C2 epimers. If they show difference in the configuration at other carbons other than carbon number 1, those are said to be C2 epimers. And whereas glucose and galactose, very important points, children, these are glucose and galactose, those are C4 epimers. What they are called as C4 epimers. Among monosaccharides, we have most important monosaccharides are glucose, mannose, and galactose. So glucose, mannose are C2 epimers, glucose, galactose are C4 epimers. All of these are having same molecular formula, but there is a difference in configuration at different carbons. But all of them are D forms only. I'm talking about all of these are 8 D forms. So I'm writing those 8 D forms. Out of those 8 D forms, how many we have written so far? 3 we have written. Still 5 are there. Still 5 are there. 8 are D forms and remaining 8 are L forms. Both these are enantiomers to each other. That's why those are optically active. Among them, if you observe it, these 2 points are very important for competitive. Glucose and mannose are C2 epimers. They shows the difference in the configuration carbon number 2. Glucose and galactose are C4 epimers. They shows the difference in the carbon at they show this difference in the configuration at carbon number 4. Is it clear? But when it comes to glucose and fructose, those are functional isomers. Glucose and fructose are functional isomers. And glucose mannose C2 epimers, glucose galactose are C4 epimers. Right? That's all for this session. We will continue with the remaining also in the next session, as well as fructose also will be discussed in the next session.
Sir,